halfway through his fourth year of the team being in existence. At the end of 2022, Ibrahim is on track to close $500 million. I'm super stoked to have my good friend Ibrahim here on the Cheplak Live podcast to unpack it. Good morning and welcome, brother.
Good morning, brother. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
You bet. So let's do this. First of all, you've been in the business 5 years. You're at, we're in June 2022 for those that are listening and watching, and you're 3.5 years into the team and continuing to build it. But let's go back because your backstory, man, I remember when I first learned about it. Tell everyone what you did before you got into real estate.
Well, my story is not that interesting before I get into real estate. I was born and raised in Egypt. Came to Canada exactly 10 years ago. In 3 days from now, it will be 10 years ago. Came with the hopes and ideas of, you know what, I'm going to continue. I have a law degree back home, so I'm technically a lawyer. So came in to do I'm going to go ahead, do my master's degree in law combined with MBA to realize that's going to be taking a very long U-turn of my life and actually going backwards. So decided to let go of that and doing the business. So my back home, a background of sales. My brother and I, we do a lot of B2B business, wholesale commodities. So that's something that I do it naturally. I'm good at it, and I know how to build relationship connections. So I did this here in Canada for about 2 years. Economic situation hit the country back home very badly. So the business actually stopped, completely out of our control. We can't do that. We cannot import or export anything anymore. So I had to stay in Canada. So when I stayed in Canada, I was like, okay, I have zero relationship. I wasn't born here, didn't grow up here, didn't go to university here, no friends. My wife is a very quiet person, like very quiet, simple life. I was like, that's not gonna cut it, you know? I gotta have to do something that will, I can stand on, take it a stepping stone towards like whatever business I'm gonna do in the future. So I did a telecommunication sales for about 1.5 years. 2015, I did a transaction for a real estate company, and then the agent was like, hey, have you ever thought of being in real estate? I was like, well, I thought about it, but we'll chat later. You know, I was really busy making a lot of money back then. And we're gonna get to that later because I'm very grateful for being in the business that we're in today, because I was making 3 times more than the average people around me making. So I thought that I had it figured out. And I was like, okay, cool. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I did not go to school for that. It is not my career. And whatever I had to let go of, which is my law career, whatever I'm going to be doing, it has to worth it. Otherwise, there is something wrong. So I took it very seriously. And I was like, I finished the year, December 31st, 2015. I was the second highest salesperson in the country for selling the insurance with the wireless plans, which is a very tough thing to do specifically. Imagine convincing every single client that buys wireless plans for businesses to buy insurance with every single one of these. So it was a little bit tough thing to do. So I did that. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. Like I'm very grateful for everything I did. And I built a lot of relationships, made a lot of money for the company, and everybody's happy. And I'm like, I gotta have to go somewhere else that can replace my career. So I went to I get a haircut in the new year. I usually take the first 2 weeks off in January, go see my sister in New Jersey and hang out. And usually this is where the numbers drops. And then like, okay, Ibrahim is on vacation. So I did that and I went to get a haircut and I found him like sitting right next to me in the barber shop. His name is Mark. I was like, Mark, how are you doing, man? I didn't mean to like kind of bail on you, but like I'm being really busy. I've been really busy. You want to have time to chat? He's like, sure. Walk me through what needs to be done. Here's what to get your license, to do this, to do that. I'm like, cool. Started getting my license. Here in Ontario is a little bit different. It takes quite a bit of time to get your license. You go to college for that. So I applied for the license and first course, second course, and then the third one, I registered the exam for my third course. And I quit my job. Like, no, there is no like, you know, I'm just gonna go try part-time, kind of replace the income. I'm like, it's done, cut the cord, moving in full-time, done. And what I did after that, I don't suggest anybody to do it because it's yes, risk is not a risk when it's calculated. I get that part, but I actually failed my exam 3 times. So so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my license.
Me too, man. I did too.
So I called Mark and I'm like, yo, Mark. He's like, what? I'm like, I need the lingo. He's like, what you mean? I'm like, the terminology. Like, what are you guys saying in real estate? My issue is not, I know God willing, first and foremost, I'm gonna be doing good. I have that feeling. Building relationship connection. I have all of this. I'm good at it. I'm like, what are you guys saying when it comes to real estate? So-called scripting now. Okay. So I didn't know that back then. He's like, don't worry, that's an easy work. Just come to the office, hang out, hear what we have to say. He's like, okay. I'm like, watch this guy. And then he pointed at a gentleman on the other side of the office. I'm like, why? He's like, he sold 30 homes last year. Okay, cool. What does that mean? Like, is it good? Is it like, what does that mean? It's like average agent sells 7 homes a year. So this guy sold 30. He's on that you want to watch. I'm like, okay, cool. There's something to learn. Sit and listen. And it was very inspiring because I didn't hear anything wow. So wearing the white belt mindset and act like if you don't know anything, that gives me good feeling that if this is what it takes to do 30 transactions, he was good. Don't get me wrong, he was good. But there was no like, oh, John, did you hear how did he just phrase that? Oh my God, did he just, like, there was none of those moments, you know? But it was good. I was like, that's good, you know, like we're getting there. And then I quit my job and knowing that I'm gonna get my license next month. So I didn't study. I was doing everything that every Asian should be doing, which is prospecting like there's no tomorrow. Like every single person that I have done business with, I let them know that I'm getting into real estate. Okay, every single person in the last year and a half since I did the whole wireless thing. So I got the exam. I didn't actually study at all. So obviously I failed the exam. I was like, that doesn't feel good, but it's okay. I mean, next time I'll pass it. Good exam. I failed again. I was like, okay, that's not good. Now I failed it twice. Probably I know all the questions. They will come back again. I will pass again. I failed it 3 times. And this is where I'm like, okay, hold on a second. People will think I'm stupid because they can see me at the office coming every last 3 months. And I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? We thought he's in the last course. So I actually took a step back and I studied. And when I studied, I actually passed the exam. So nothing worth having come easy, right? So I actually have to study. But it was very painful for me because whatever you study has nothing to do with real life. And it's very annoying. Here in Ontario, there's so much crap that you're studying has nothing to do with real life. I got my license. And within 57 days, I did 18 transactions. So the day number 57, I was handing the transaction, like here is the paperwork. There you go, John. The transaction number 18. The blah, blah, blah of the year, the rookie of the year, whatever, how the hell did you do this? Like, and then other brokerages, very, very, very extremely forever grateful. They just, hey, would love to have a conversation with you. Like, come to like Mississauga, come to Toronto, like bigger cities next to us. Talk. I'm like, guys, hold on a second because I don't know how to say what I did because there is no blueprint for that. I failed my freaking exam 3 times. It didn't just fall in my lap, and I don't actually have a blueprint. I paid the price for that big time, and there is no like, hey, John, if you did this and this and this and this and this, you're gonna get this. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I just work. Yeah. Try to unpack it. I'm like, okay, well, give me a second. Let me try to unpack or go in towards what I did. So when people, I'm not, I don't take shit for granted, John. And when I was in the business when I started, Wednesday at 5 p.m., whatever, you know, just 7, I don't know what time is it, like there is a hockey game going on. And then everybody goes home and thank you so much for watching the hockey game, you know? Weekend, summer is good. Like weather is good. Everybody's outside, like kind of like enjoying the summer. And I know what I did, okay? I know what I did in the previous job, the amount of like 17 hours of work like a dog to make respectable, good amount of money that I'm forever grateful for. Knowing that this work, that's so-called real estate, the industry that we're in, my job, because last I checked, my job is to get a phone like that in an air conditioning atmosphere and dial the freaking numbers and talk to people. Yeah. I don't know if I did not take that seriously, and God may have taken it away again from me, because if you're ungrateful, if you're grateful, he will give you more. If you're ungrateful, I don't like these people, and I don't relate to them. So I'm like, I'm very well aware of how many hours that I stood up and work on my face off, and now I have an opportunity to make this much money in 3 months. The whole entire year, I make 4 times, 5 times what I made before, and thank goodness last year was like almost 7 times or 8 times what I did before. I'm like, man, like when the phone rings, when the lead comes in back then, I'm scared not to pick up the phone if I'm on the dinner, because I'm like, this is an opportunity I was choosing, because that client went on the internet at some point in time somewhere in the world, I don't know where, well, probably the city we're living in, and then put the information. It came to me, and then the telling me, and who am I to say no for that? Because if I did this, John, think about it. You have a kid, and you're giving your kid everything, and your kid is very ungrateful and not like, sure, yeah, that's fine, but that is going to give me some tomorrow. I'm like, I don't entitled. The sense of entitlement, right? I don't deal well with those people, you know. So I'm like, when that happens, I'm like, man, like I can't. Like at some point in time, the business grows. Anywho, back then, I just to go back for a little bit. I started on a team because I know I need to be on a team. Like I played soccer all my life, and being in a sports and like being the law firm, like it's just the idea of being a team versus being on my own. It's not for everybody, but the world needs the consumers needs option. The world real estate industry needs individual agents, very successful, needs a team. Nothing wrong with that. So, but I know I need a team, and then I was very grateful to join one of the top teams at Keller Williams at that time. My good friend Shah. So I joined the team, learned a lot from them for about 6-7 months. And then, you know, when you have the coach or the team, the tactics, that think of a player, of a soccer player or like a basketball player, that the coach is amazing, the team technique is amazing, they're winning championships. And then you have that player, it's good player too, it just doesn't like, the tactic is different. Just the way, that's why in the sports world, they have 2 transfer windows a year, because I don't know why people get hung up on that. It's a very okay thing.
Yeah.
It's a very okay thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we had an amazing relationship. I'm like, okay, we just went separate ways for how we both see the future, like how things should look like, based on my opinion, based on they're very extremely successful team until today. And that proves the point that there is no right way or wrong way of doing things. There is not. Just there is 2 different ways of doing things, probably 10 different ways of doing things. So I went to my own. I sold a lot of real estate, made good amount of money, to realize, John, that I not willing again to do what I did the last year being a solo agent to make whatever I made, because I had zero personal life, like literally zero. So that got me to sit down with myself and brought in a pen and paper. I still have that until now. I draw a line in the middle with zero bullshit. This is just me looking at the mirror. Every single possible reason that I can possibly think of why I need to be part of the team on the right-hand side of the line. The same freaking paper on the left side of the line. Every single possible reason I will never join a team if it has any of those things. Here is the wish list. Here is the dislike list. You know? I sat with all the team that I can possibly put my hands on in their region here. And I'm like, you know what if I'm the reason? I'm the problem? Because I don't want to sound like a cliche, but like 99% almost the same. Same structure, same setup, same way of doing business. And this is, I'm like, buddy, what if this is how the real estate teams in the industry actually work? That's my problem. Just go back, continue being a solo agent. I'm like, I'm getting tired, I'm getting exhausted. And I'm like, man, there gotta be a way, there is gotta be a way, because if I'm thinking that way, I'm not the Einstein of real estate. There is probably there is other people that have the same problem that I have somewhere. I don't know where they are, but. So I had the privilege of speaking to a wise man, my number one growth advisor, my number one brother, my everything, by the name of Idris. So I spoke to him, I'm like, Idris, we need to start the team, and here is how things are gonna look like. He was new to the industry at that time, but he's absolutely a genius. But he was just new to the industry. Okay, doesn't talk much. You have to know Idris to get what you want to get out of him. So I'm like, here's how things will look like. Blah blah blah. 10 minutes in, he's like, okay. I'm like, he's like, are we done? I'm like, yeah, but like I gotta have to explain to you how the details. He's like, are we done? I'm like, I guess we're done. Shook hand, been in the business until today. Look back, thank goodness for everything we have. This is where things started. I let go of a personal recognition at Keller Williams, top 10 in the country for individual agents, because I started the team specifically on November 1st, 2018. Knowing that if our year in real estate starts November 1st and ends October 31st. If you're in Canada, it takes about 2 to 3 months to close a transaction from the day that you're ready. So any transaction typically we do in November and December, it falls into the following year closing. So the last 2 years, right now, you actually don't have like 6 months left, you only have 4 months left. And we project all the goals based on only 4 months to close in that year. So I was like, okay, so we're gonna start the team on November 1st, everything's set up, paperwork set up. Yet, John, like by December 31st, everything that I have done in that year, it was a solo business. Like all the transaction, everything was just myself. Okay. But knowing that I will lose that creditability, or like big show to like top 10 team, top individual agent in the country, all of that stuff, because it's okay, because the whole is bigger than the one. And starting the team January 1st to get that recognition, I would have been 2 months backwards, 2 months behind. So I let go of that, started the team November 1st. 6 months into the whole year of 2019, we appeared on the map. Like there is a team kind of like number 73 in the country. Okay, at least we have a ranking, because real estate. By the end of the year 2019, we made it to the top 25 list. 6 months in 2020, we made it to the top 10 list. By the end of 2020, we stayed in the top 10 list. Because when you go higher, you know that better than anybody. It gets a little bit tougher, because they're Mickey Mouse. You know what they're doing. Like top 25, almost same top 25. When you penetrate and go up top 10, always the same top 10. They just change seats, but the same people. So and 2020, we kind of like gradually like 9, 7, 8, 7, 9, 6. Finished the year, January 2022, we made it to the number 1 team in the country. We're very grateful for that. Looking back, I will not change anything. I will absolutely not change anything. The one thing that I will do more of is learn what not to do before I learn what to do.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
That's the only thing that I will do. If I were to change, I will do more of that, is learning what not to do from other people before I learn what to do from them. John is a great guy, absolutely. First thing comes to mind. What is it about John that I shouldn't be doing? Oh my God, John is amazing. I'm like, I get it. What is it about him that I should not be doing? Analyze the crap out of John, get the list of what not to do from John, and then know, okay, if it took John 2 years to get from point A to point B, probably we don't know what we don't know. If I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, probably I don't know that I shouldn't be doing. Otherwise, I would have stopped it. Makes sense? So when I look at John, I'm like, okay, well, John does this and this and this and this, and that's probably, if I were him, I wouldn't do that, because he just doesn't know that he shouldn't do that, whatever. And I'm like, it will take me 6 months to get from point A to point B if I did the same thing that John actually doing very good without doing the stuff that he should not be doing. How to determine what not to do? Just put yourself in the other shoes. If you are on the receiving end of what is happening, has a lot to do with one of your favorite phrases, emotional maturity. So yeah, there is that. Enough about me, brother.
How did you, as you started growing, certainly you'd built and thank you for the backfill. I think it's encouraging, even going back to being a different career, an immigrant, and going from one industry to another, and no magic pill. You just came and worked really, really hard. I want people to hear too, it's sacrifice, massive sacrifice to get to where you're at. At what point did you start bringing agents on? And, the nice thing is I've been around your environment now for a couple of years and got to spend time with those people in rooms. And at what point did you start bringing people on consistently? And what were you looking for? Because the one thing that I want everyone to know is, as they hear these numbers, we talk about it all the time, remarkable retention and productivity of your people. I think that there's, people get too tactical in our industry. And I think you and I talk about it, how do you do ABC, XYZ, LMNOP? And I don't know how often you and I in 2+ years, maybe 3 years, two years, we talk this much tactic, we talk human beings, and look at what's happening. Talk about, who are you looking for? Who have you looked for? How have you kept everyone together? Because I think you and I could spend a full day together with one another talking about the human behavior, the human relationships, and how it has taken you from where you were in the beginning to $500 million in 3.5 years. Give us a stream of consciousness on that, Ibrahim, because that's your absolute superpower that has you winning.
100%, brother. I appreciate that. So what I did is, first thing I hired, the first thing is a full-time admin and a full-time ISAs when I was myself. First-time admin, first-time ISAs, those are the most critical two components that I started with. And then a second admin, and then I had like 4 agents with me. When I had 4 agents, I actually started an entire ISA department. And then I had like 8 full-time inside sales agents that only outreach, not even they don't handle the incoming calls, the soccer prospect around our listing. And this is where the takeoff took place. So it takes money, John, to make money. Ta-da! Yeah, it takes money to make money. And that was a lot of expenses on me. I'm like, okay, this is where the foundation for the company starts. And then a lot of very smart agents, they saw the real value being in the team, because I'm literally taking all the crap out, like the 80-20 rule, focus on that. It was probably 95-5. You only do 5%. I'm taking all that affinity teams taking 95% of the work off of your shoulder, off of your plate. It made financial business sense to the people. One thing, John, is to answer specifically your question, when did I start getting people like attracting and getting in business with a real business partner on the real life? It was probably the second year being in the team, because the first year we were stuck organically on about like 8 or 9 people, 9 agents. Okay. That with zero effort on bringing in more people. Mm-hmm. And we were in the mindset of, I know you're gonna laugh at that, the SEAL team. The SEAL team. I remember my first conversation with you. I'm like, no, John, we're good. We have the awesome, that culture, like we feel like we were brother and sister and from a mother. Like, okay, let me know how's that going. I'm like, okay. It was actually going good. So like, I give credit to those people. It was going good. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, math is a math. And I've always known that. I'm like, that's not a rocket science. It's actually a very simple equation. You are the sum of the caliber of the human beings you have on the team. So yes, we're going to recruit to the subculture and make sure everybody comes in, that transactions or like relationship over transactions at any given time in life. As a matter of fact, in any interview or anything we said with people talking, there is 2 letters. One of 2 letters next to every single person that I do business with in my secret list in my head. There is 1 letter next to one, either R or T, relational or transactional based. If the person is transactional based person, I'm out. In any, it doesn't matter, like a business partner, agent being on the team, administration staff, another business person from a different broker. It doesn't, if you're a transactional based person, I will see you tomorrow. There is no time for that. So it has to be a relational based person, whatever we're doing. And I realized really quickly when you go to the business, when I talk to you first time, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop making good business decisions because maybe I have, I don't know, you can call it like some advantage or something, has to do with like whatever background education. I believe the only decision, the only skill that matters, the absolute only skill, if you can suck at everything but good at that one, it will get you, it will serve you very well. The decision-making skill. That's the only skill that matters, in my opinion. The absolute only skill is a decision-making skill, making the decision at the right time, quickly when needed. So I would think I'm really good at that. But when you mix that with making good business decisions, I thought this is the way to go. Make good business decisions. I'm like, we've been making good business decisions so far, so good, but we're kind of like hitting ceilings. Start making a principle-based personal decision that takes care of the business 10 times. And I'm like, shit, math is bad. It actually has a 10%, like 100%, like 10 times our ROI. I'm like, why wouldn't we be doing this? So we just did more of like the personal-based relationship with our people to realize the one fact, John. I do apologize in advance if anybody gets offended by people that they run teams. I don't like the word like broker owner or team leader because we're human beings. At the end of the day, we're gonna die and you're gonna go with nothing. So just go back and be humble for a bit. It's the simple fact. Everybody complains about the agents, like, oh, having sense of entitlement, blah blah blah, but very, very almost none talks about the entitlement on the team leaders, the sense of entitlement within the team leaders community that's running it. This is a big deal for me, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, what made you think they're less smarter than you? What on earth made you think they're less smarter than you? My job every day to wake up and then get in business with people and hire people who are a lot more smarter than me. Do you know how easy that is? That's so easy to get people smarter than me to be in business with me. That's so easy. And I'm like, that's my job every day. And I'm like, they will do what if we establish the fact that those people are smart, that you're going to be in business with. They will do what every financial responsible person will do, which what you will do, which what I will do. If they're not getting the best ROI on their investment, I have a stock at Tesla and they're not doing me very good, I will simply, as responsible financial person, I will withdraw and go somewhere that makes me more money. Simple. So what made you think they're not going to do the same thing? That's one. Two is whether you choose or not, they are your business partner, not your agents. Watch when somebody talks and you go on a stage or like go mastermind or like an event or seminar and they start talking about like my agents. One of my agents did this. Oh, I'm going to get one of them. I'm like, hold on a sec. Your agents? Because last I checked, they have they're independent contractor. They choose to work with you, not for you. They choose to invest part of their hard earning money to grow this company that you happen to just found. So there is so much, we can talk about that for 3 days, but just like, they are your business partner. You gotta have to honor them. You are absolutely nothing without them. And they're a lot more smarter than you. And they are the reason why you're here today. But just somebody, a servant leader, when shit hit the fan, somebody has to just stand up and just fix it. That's your job. So I don't know if you think it's a good thing, it's not a good thing. You're a ship fixer. That's your job. So
how many people you have right now?
We're 38 agents and 9 staff, and then 4 full-time staff and 4 part-time staff.
38 agents, 9 staff.
Yeah, about 51 people.
51. Okay, 'cause you got some part-time.
Yeah, staff. Yeah, they
Yeah.
fill it. So the big shift happened in 2 years ago when we start realizing, okay, we're no longer in the real estate industry. We are in the human resources, human attraction. I visualized in my head like this. I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the human resources business, human attraction, bringing them in, human development, develop them, human retention, keep them, business happen to be the product's home. And I'm really big on retention because one thing I do, John, in any interview is when I sat with John is a new agent, finish the interview, ask the hot sauce questions. After we finish, there is no yes or no. John, now the next step is you need to go interview minimum of six other teams or brokerages. And then I will talk to you after you finish with them. This is what I do in every single interview. And then the person is like, what? I'm like, yeah. Have you talked to any teams, interview like brokerages lately? Well, I did talk to two. I'm like, okay, well, here is us. We have 4 left. You need to talk to 6 more teams because here's what happens, John. When you're very, very confident about what you have to offer, they go to A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever companies, teams, brokerages, they sat with them. And every single person of those recruiters at those companies, they will try to close them on the spot, typically, and get them to join. And not one of those people will tell them to go interview other people as much as they did. It's because here's what's going to happen. I sit back, 2 things will come out of it. Absolutely 2 things is going to come out of it. This person will go there and they will end up joining ABC company. And I'm going to sit here. I will know in a month or 2 when I see them register. I'm like, okay, what is it ABC has that we don't have that made this person actually join them? Actually, you have to like own it, if that's the case. Or they will come back to me, which happens 99% of the time. It's like, yeah, here is a detailed feedback because I asked literally, give me a detail of what happened. You give me a detailed feedback of what their interview went, who did they meet, what did they talk about, all of that stuff. And I sit here, I know what the competitions do already because I know that from people that they go interview them. I know what every single team, every single brokerage does in the city here. What they offer, what they have to do, what not, what the agent like about them, what the agent doesn't like. I'm sitting here and I have all the information coming to me. I send the people, talk to them. When you don't, but at the same time, you have to back this up. I'm gonna give you a lot of real, legit value that's gonna be very hard for somebody to actually duplicate it. We made it a very unfair game in the region here, very unfair. Very hard to compete with what we have to offer for the agents from every aspect, financial powers, manpowers, a legit community feeling, not just like a fluff talk. When an agent on the team, we actually had to cut this out of the interview. Why affinity? Why are you part of here? And then one of them said, I know I don't have to get a life. This shit is serious. I know I don't have to get a life insurance because I know if anything were to happen to me, my brother and sister on the affinity team will take care of my fiance. Okay, this is, you can feel good about that and like, oh my God, or like, shit. Well, we're very grateful for that, but now we gotta have to live up to that to prove this person right. If God forbid, actually something happened. On a Wednesday night, we have a team called night prospecting from 5 to 8. Everybody comes in, kind of like touch base with all the clients, kind of like competition, After that, we get food for everybody, like nice food, all sit and eat. When a person in the cottage on a Saturday send you a message on the Slack, WhatsApp before the whole work group, hey guys, I'm sitting here in the cottage, hang out with my friends. And I thought to myself, I would rather be here with you on a Wednesday night than being with my friends in the cottage. Don't get me wrong, it feels good when you hear it. It feels good because why would you, it's not a business rated, anyway, the business is done, 8 o'clock, everybody goes home. They choose to hang out until midnight with their friends, with their real friends who just happen to work together. Most of the people that we want to get in business with, we invite them to come on Wednesday because if one person in the team said that they don't like you, you're not going to join the team, period, end of discussion. I let you know before you come. Hey, John, just so you know, when you come in, you're going to have conversation with about like 10, 15, 20 people. I don't know how many. If one person said no, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to proceed. So it's every single person came to the team is with the approval of everybody else. We have an agreement system within the team. Not a one-man show. I never make a solo decision. I'm not that smart anyway. I rely on people that, hey, I'm about to do this. How dumb is it? What do you think? Actually, it's not that dumb. I'm like, thank God, let's do it. It goes like that. So, and then we start growing, adding people the right way. But most importantly, instead of keep just adding people, we focus on keeping our people by providing them tons of value, which is re-recruiting anyway. You wake up, you re-recruit your people every single damn day. You have to re-earn their business. Don't be entitled, because they will leave and do something that's good for them as much as you will do if you are in their position. In 2018, John, May 23rd, 2018, I was in a conference in San Diego, and I met a person with the name of Tiffany Bova. She's the Director of Growth and Innovation at Salesforce.
Oh, okay.
She said one line, Ibrahim, you have to live in the future to welcome your client when they arrive. That one line here, John, took it back, and I went back home. I'm like, my clients are people that want to buy and sell real estate. My clients are real estate professionals that they need a company to operate their real estate business at. Their real estate business at company. They're not working for me. They're way too far from that. I gotta be that company for them to choose to operate their business at, not at the ABC other companies. So now I gotta have to apply that line, live in the future to welcome them when they arrive. Cool. What would I need in 5 years from now? John got his license 10 o'clock this morning. I gotta be not stupid, and I better show respect to the future version of John that I don't know how the hell he's gonna be big or small in 5 years from now. I'm like, John, look, I know you don't know shit. You're so like just new, but I gotta have to show respect to who you're gonna be in 5 years from now, which look, brother, you're gonna figure it out. I just don't know when you're gonna figure it out. That I know for sure you're gonna figure out. I just don't know when. It might take you 6 months. It might take you 6 years. You might not figure out at all, which I hope to God you will. Otherwise, you're not gonna be in business. You're gonna be smart, you know? But if you're smart, that means you're gonna figure it out. I have to be very careful to live in that future. So when John comes, I saw 50 million last year. I'm like, that's good, John. I was actually waiting. Welcome to the future. Here is what the next 5 years is gonna look like. Usually when you sell 50 homes, 50 million a year, this kind of problem shows up in the business. And when that problem shows up, here's how to fix it. I know we have all of that ready for you. Versus, shoot, now how am I supposed to keep John? Like, oh, did you live in the future to welcome John when John arrives? No. Okay, well, John has to go to the future then. You stay in the past.
Proactive with your relationships. This is I want people to hear this. You are proactive with the business relationship. 100%. Not reactionary. Most are reactionary. One is so good.
100%. Think of every aspect of every direction the relationship might go to, and truly, no bullshit. Like, just care about the people because of who they are, not because of the business.
Right.
And the business will follow. It's a byproduct. We've seen it, like it's proven like a million times. When you don't care about the business chases you.
You know, let's go into that, because you know what's interesting is we're in a business where we recognize the sales, and it just came to me as I look at what you're sharing and in working with you now for a couple of years, is certainly you. There's a level of recognition that high performers get. But I think the one thing, let's go inside that community, like really the teeth of it, because no matter what, everyone feels special in your environment. And I'll say why, because I know what your line item is on an annual basis. in contributing to community that people would go, where's the ROI? Where's the ROI? I mean, go inside that in how people talk community, talk culture, and do your best to unpack that where, whether you've been with us a month, you've been with us 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if you're in here, you are special to us. How would you unpack that to everyone the best way you can? I know, by the way, what are you gonna spend $250,000 this year just on events that are purely community based? Am I right in that number we talked about?
It's going to be over $250,000.
Yeah, $250,000.
So this money, in my opinion, it's the absolute highest ROI the company has ever been seeing and will ever be seeing. However, there is no tangible return on it.
No.
There is no, it's like, you're going to spend this much money to bring those many leads. Here's how much conversion. I can do all this math. My nephew can do this math. Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Here's the outline. Here's the ROI on the math. When you spend money on people, has absolutely nothing to do with the transactional side of things. There is absolutely no ROI in it, but it has almost 5,000% ROI because it's intangible return that people don't see. You see that through the retention. You see that through the agent referral from their best friends to the company again. You see that through a continuous business that the agent are doing within the team that adds to the bottom line way more than what you just spent. But there is no tangible return on it.
And just by the way, from a measured standpoint, we'll get back to, because there's science and the art, and everyone wants to talk about, learn about, and share the science. We're in the art perspective, but let's talk about the science real quickly. What's your 3.5 years this team in existence? What's your retention? 95%, or are you still at 100?
We haven't had a single person to choose to leave the team. We had to let 3 people in a very polite way. We're not going to continue working together.
Good. I just want people to hear that. So now let's unpack this thing. Like, I think the remarkable thing is people will talk about it, they'll start things, but I think this thing, in my perspective, we haven't drilled down this far, but I think there's one thing that is the closest to mandatory required is it the Wednesday night dinner and when you guys get together? Talk about that one, man. Yeah. Let's share the secret everyone can steal.
Okay, here is the secret. It's very simple. After we do the prospecting night, everybody comes in to do the follow-ups on Wednesday between 5 and 8. It's statistically proven by the keeping the current matter, which is the highest pickup ratio. So we did the math. We did this 5 to 8. We will go and follow up. After 8 o'clock, the company chooses to be like, hey guys, let's just break a bread together. I'm a little bit older school. In my culture, eating together is a big deal. It's a really big deal. Like, if you invite somebody to your home and eat together in the same, it's a really big. So we put a lot of emphasis in it. So we bring in a really good food. It's expensive. It's not cheap. So if you do that every week for 52 weeks in a year, it adds up like a really big, tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. So people come in and everybody eats. When they come in here, I'm eating and I'm sitting next to that can be my brother, my wife, but it's actually my business partner here. And we start talking until midnight. They go, Starbucks doesn't sell coffee. They sell community. So I'm not here. This is not my real estate sales team. This is not the people that I just work with. Those people I spend time with. When your birthday comes in, John. So John John was us in the team. So it's going to be John's birthday in the calendar, Brittany's birthday in the calendar, all the kids' birthday in the calendar, their dog name and the birthday of the dog in the calendar. That's hassle. For the clients, different. For the agents, their anniversary date is in the calendar. There is a cultural specialist. That's a full-time position. That person's job is to keep track of all of that and make sure John receives a valuable gift that represents the value of how we see John. There is no $25, $50 gift card. None of this. This is disrespect. John gets like a very nice gift customized to him based on what we know about him on his birthday from the team. Brittany. Now, Brittany works for us. Brittany doesn't work with us. We're at a company that recognizes your spouse. You get a nice gift or a trip or like a event somewhere for your anniversary dinner. That's not business, John. This is not business. But it is freaking business at the same time. It's a business. So the science says don't do that. Because the science, I'm living in a BNL and I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't really add up. But the art says it does because how value of the team and John is the CEO of the brand when John goes represent the brand for another client. So how would John represent us if John doesn't feel how he actually should feel? Complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but not because we speak that language.
Yeah.
38, you have 38 agents today, and you're looking at the end of 2022. How many agents would you say that you guys will have at the end of
probably we'll end up the year was 47. That's the mathematics. Yeah, 47. Yeah.
Right. So per person productivity well over 10 million. Super remarkable. You and I could chat for days and days, and we'll continue to do this more and more. I want to honor your time today, and I appreciate it. I want to end on because it's just so perfect, and it wasn't planned, but it's, you know, we've spent so much time. Like, I know that people are watching this and listening, but what about when they do ABC and XYZ, and those other people miss it because the numbers don't lie. I want you to end with this quote that you gave to me the other day on our coaching call when you says, John, I have broken English, but what was that one? I don't have broken math.
I may have an accent in English, but I don't have accent when it comes to math. Yeah. It's the language, that universal language that everybody understands.
Yeah.
You can get wrong with math.
No, and that's what I want to leave everyone with is we depart today, and hope you got really a ton of value and see deeper into your business instead of all this go wide, because to go wide, you've got to go really, really deep, isn't it? Ibrahim knows the math 100%, but the math will never matter unless you have the relationships and you're obsessed with the emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. So Ibrahim, my brother, thank you so much for your time and your contributions. We really appreciate you, man.
One small correction, just really quick. I have 7 agents on a team that's newer to the industry. So average transaction is actually 18 million, not 10 million. The average is 18. So
good.
We'll add
Yeah, see, we brought the math in at the end. Absolutely.
When we add up the full year production, it's 18 million per person.
That's awesome. Appreciate it,
brother.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me. Grateful to be here. Thank you, brother.